How excited are you going into your first spring heading into Saturday?
But really excited, especially for the guys. You know, we've had a really good spring. They've worked extremely hard, a lot of different things that we've asked them to do. And so it's one of those deals that's kind of really rewarding for them. I think it's good for the fans. They're going to see like the first. I mean, we have a long way to go. We're moving in a great direction, but just like who we are right now and who we will be game 1 and game 10, we will continue to grow. But I think it's going to be great to see for the fans what we are right now.
The quarterbacks are kind of talking about just having fun, slinging it around at the spring game. Are you excited to see them kind of let loose in a game-like situation finally?
I am. You know, I think they've had a really good spring. I mean, y'all saw it. I listened to them. In fact, Dowdy and I were talking, you know, as we were walking out here. I said, man, how lucky are we to have quarterbacks like that feed off of each other, that respect each other, that when you have a room like that, they make each other better. It's been a great competition, and I'm excited. They'll have a lot to say. We'll you know, y'all know how spring goes. We're not going to show a lot, but we're going to show playing hard, but they'll have a lot to say of what we call in the game, especially whenever each one of them are out there.
Do you still want to name a starter at the end of spring ball like you had said a few weeks back, or not sure?
You know, we'll see. Again, I want to see how they play. I mean, we've charted everything. At some point, we need to. You know, I'm going to sit down with Kitley at the end. We're going to do a bunch of evaluation on Monday and Tuesday with each position, each position group, each player. We've been doing it all spring, and kind of sit down and see where we're at. You know, I mean, I really do. It sounds crazy, but I think they can do a lot of things similar, and then I think there's some things that we're going to put in to put pressure on some people with different ones. I mean, I could see easy, if it's not all three, 2 of them playing in game 1 and doing different things.
And on that same note, what are some of the strengths of each guy that you've seen in the room so far?
You know, I think Tyler has a really good command of the offense as far as getting us in and out of bad plays. You know, Kitley's really big on giving the quarterback that situation to where, you know, if it's a bad run called into a box, what he's going to check out of. He has a really good sense of that. We've put some stuff in to where we're moving the pocket, and so they all do that. But I think Donovan, you know, that's one of his strengths, of his arm strength, running and, you know, on the move, what kind of arm strength. And like, you know, Barron the other day in the scrimmage, he was 20 of 24, you know, and so he was really accurate. He did some good things, and, you know, there's some growing pains of him getting us into some good plays as far as in the run game. But, you know, each one of them it's really, I said it going in, I'll say it again, I think we have a really healthy quarterback room to where we can go out and win games with each of them.
Several of the coaches have been mentioning you've been building toward 2 deep. Have you discovered you're 2 deep right now?
In some spots, you know, I think at corner, we have 3 guys that have kind of stepped up and have separated themselves. So there's a couple guys with that 4th corner that we want that needs to get there. I think, again, at the safety position, there's 5. You know, we're going to play mainly a 3 safety defense with Kosai kind of being the hybrid guy. The great thing is Waters is so physical. Man, you're talking about a dude that's had a great spring. So I feel good there. Linebacker-wise, I feel like we are 3 to 4 guys. So, again, there. On the offensive side of the ball, we have still got to build depth in the O-line. You know, tight end, I feel really good about. Running back, I feel really, really good about. But just continuing to build that. And then we kind of had the drops Tuesday and Thursday in practice, and then we turn around in the game or the scrimmage on Friday, and, man, they caught the ball really, really well. I mean, some big catches. Chad, JB had a big catch on the visitor sideline, so it was encouraging to see in those competition things those guys step up.
The 3 corners that you mentioned that separate themselves would be
Adrian, Rashad, and Malik Dunlap. I mean, I feel really like if any one of those 3 are in the game. I think Adrian, you know, is kind of Mr. Consistent. You know what man, he had a huge tackle in the red zone on Taj that like I hadn't seen anybody make that tackle, and it was a live period. It really won the red zone competition, and that was, I mean, not many people have done that this spring, so those three I feel really good about.
And the 5 safeties.
The safeties, you're talking at the kind of nickel star, you have Waters, you have Kosai. At the high safeties, you have Rabbit. I feel really good about what Reggie's doing, and golly, you're going to make me forget the fifth one. Gosh, dang it. I'm going to have to come back to that one. My brain's going to process back here.
So let's process on a question that we asked about earlier in the spring. What's the spring game going to look like for fans? Are we talking red, black, Raider red, red Raider? You know, and how will fans know which team's winning?
So it's going to be the one unique thing that will look a little bit different is, so you're going to have the first offense. The quarterbacks are going to do what they've done. They're going to rotate through, but you're going to have the first offense on the home side with the second defense. But the offense is going to be in red and the defense is going to be in black. And then you're going to have the first defense on the visitor side with the number 2 offense. So really you're looking for people like Taj. Okay, well, that's the first offense. You know, Caleb Rogers, that's the first offense. So we'll name the home side, you know, like Red Raiders and maybe the visitors. We've kind of been throwing back and forth, you know, what we're going to do it. But we're going to play it like a game. The reason we're doing that is because there's some guys that are kind of on that fence, and so they might be jumping back and forth with different groups. We have different personnel packages we're still going to do, you know, play. And so instead of just doing a red team and a black team, we are going to do it, play the game, 1s versus 1s, 2s versus 2s, but you're going to have a combination of red and black on both sidelines.
With that being said, you talked about the players that you feel comfortable about. Who are some of the young players that that aren't as experienced that have made an impact so far this spring?
I think Cameron Valdez has had one of the best springs. You know, the third day when we were in pads, you know, I kind of got on him a little bit about being physical. And, man, I mean, he has truly gotten better every single practice with his physicality, the way we want him to run. So I've been really excited about him. Bryce Ramirez, I mean, I'm telling you, that dude is going to affect the game if nothing else on third down. I mean, his pass rush ability has really grown. Excited about, you know, what he's doing. So some of the guys like that, Jacob Rodriguez, y'all talked to him after the first scrimmage. That guy's come in, and I mean, he doesn't even look like the same guy that came in at the 1st of January at like 205 pounds. He's like 225 right now, and he's playing really physical. He runs to the football, you know, and he would be a true sophomore because he played at his old school. So there's still young guys like that really excited about.
Still like you coaching Brady Boyd now.
It's exciting. You know, I've known him since he was born. His dad was my very first offensive coordinator at Cedar Hill. We were actually assistants together at one point at Cedar Hill. So it's great, you know, to see he's a guy that you'll see move around a lot, just kind of challenging him because he's got a high football IQ. He can do a lot of things, and challenging Emmett, you know, like who's a guy that's catching the most contested balls. When competition and everything gets heated, there's going to be a winner and loser. Who's the guy that's catching the ball, you know? And JB's one of them, but Boyd has been one of them. So he's played outside, he's played inside. He played inside in the last scrimmage, and, you know, really just getting him on the field and rewarding guys that are, when they compete at a high level and make plays, and we want to get them on the field. Nehemiah Martinez, like, that's another guy, man. Like, I was messing around in pregame. I said, everybody better get a 20 jersey because Texas Tech, the Red Raider Nation, is going to know who he is. And they're going to love him because that dude is a West Texas kid. He's tough. I mean, that's another kid that's having a really good spring.
Coach, you mentioned, you know, trying to build the 2 deep on the offensive line still. Who stood out from that group and really excelled in the spring?
Caleb has done it. I mean, it's kind of the vets. You know, Caleb Rogers, we moved him from right tackle to left tackle. He's done a phenomenal job. Weston Wright has had a really good spring. One that I've really been proud of is Landon because, you know, he's kind of bounced around from tackle to guard and, you know, in different areas. He's been playing right guard. He's gotten better and so really excited about those guys. Keeler is playing left tackle with the twos. He had a really good week last week. He had a good practice today. So some of those guys that are building, and again, we got some guys right now that aren't going through spring that, create depth, and some of them are going to be starting.
And then going back to Valdez, how beneficial is it to have the two experienced backs kind of, showing the ropes?
Well, it's huge because, he takes it personal the right way, but some guys, whenever the coach gets on them, can like crawl in a hole or like get his head down. And those old guys they know where I'm coming from. And they I don't know, I know there's more than like 3 or 4, but if you're talking about Taj and Thompson, those guys are all the way bought in. I do not question whatsoever that they are, have my back. And so whenever you have guys like that, helping that young guy understand like, hey, look, man, he's trying to make you better. And then he sees the rewards, and then I want to make sure he hears me say, dude, you're getting better. Keep doing what you're doing. And so that's where I really have seen him take off.
Last season we saw Xavier White and Chadarius playing more of that running back role. What kind of role can we expect to see them in the spring game and this fall season? Through the spring, they know the running back position, but through the spring you might see them a little bit on Saturday at running back, but Chad's playing outside and X is playing inside. That's where we want to keep him. He brings another element that, Loic was back today, but he can't go through any contact. So Chad brings another element of speed to really throw the deep ball. And then X puts a lot of pressure. Whenever you've got we've got big physical receivers, we got big physical tight ends. So we're going to have to be great at catching the 50-50 ball and kind of bully DBs at catching the ball. So whenever you've got guys like Miles and X in the slot, they got to put pressure on those linebackers and put pressure on people in space. And so that's what they've done, and Chad's done a good job with the deep ball. Who are some of those early enrollees that came in December that you could possibly see making that big-time play on Saturday during the spring game?
Well, what's crazy is they're all kind of banged up, so I don't know which. Nothing bad, nothing, that to where they wouldn't play if it was a real game. Ty Khanna has had a great spring. Joseph had his shoulder cleaned up, so like this week he's all fired up because this week's the first week that he gets to truly run. So he was fired up today. So it's kind of like a game time. And then again, like y'all probably are not going to see Thompson on Saturday. He's had a great spring. I'm not going to put him in a situation of like if he doesn't feel 100%, I know what he can do. So I get a chance to get Cameron some more touches. Blake Bedwell has had a really good spring. Let him get some more touches like that.
Coach, from week 1 to now, how much have you seen the guys kind of gel together, get to know your staff, and vice versa?
I think as far as the chemistry, I think we're in a good spot. We're moving in the right direction. I think that we've got a really healthy coaching staff. I've been on staffs to where it's almost like every day you're game planning against each other, and that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to get better at what we do, and we're trying to get our offense in and our defense in. So that's been really big. The players, I think, have really got to know their coaches, got to know what they want. And so I think that's the locker room. We have good chemistry in the locker room. So I think we're moving in the right direction. The summer, June is going to be, the guys are fixed to take May off. The coaches are fixed to go on the road recruiting. June's going to be a big reset. We're back in the middle of it. There's been some rule changes where we can be more involved in some stuff this summer. So excited about that to take another step. Ready to roll. Like if we were playing on Saturday, he would play. You know what I'm saying? Like some of these guys, if it was like, hey, we're fixing to go play a game, they would play. It's one of those deals of like, don't put them in a situation to where we don't have them. It's summer because where we were at to where we are strength-wise is huge. But we have a base now. In June and July, we have a chance to like become a really strong football team. And so I don't want to put these guys in a situation to where they come back and now if we have to clean something up or and they're missing, that's like Joseph. Joseph could have gone through spring, but then if he goes through spring with his shoulder, I'm probably not going to get him in the fall. In the fall, he's going to play. I don't know how many snaps a game, but that dude's going to play in games. And so it was like, hey, if we do it here, we're going to get him in the fall. And so that's kind of like the thought of like, and Tyree's one of those guys too, man. He has a special skill set, and some of these guys, we know what they can do, so don't put them in the situation to where they can get banged up worse to where we can't make a big jump in June and July.
You've talked about all spring long about being violent. You want that Red Raider violence. Has this team embraced that and has gotten to where you're happy about it yet?
Oh, I'll never be happy whenever it talks to that. No, I will be. I'll be happy. You're going to see that. We're not there yet. Whenever you talk about violence from the defensive side of the ball, it's whenever all 11 guys play as hard as they can on every single snap. And you'll see, y'all have seen in practice, y'all have seen in scrimmages, you've seen, like, we might have 5, we might have 8. There might be one play where all 11 do it, but where we're trying to get. Now, the good thing is we've seen every one of them do it. Now they've just got to do it all together, and they've got to do it every snap. I will tell you this, like if you go back to the scrimmage, we ran the ball really well on Friday, and you had some really physical runs, and so that was big for us to be able to do that on Friday.
Baylor Cup, we didn't talk about him now. What was it like getting him here? What's your expectation for him?
Well, the one thing that I wanted to make sure is that we continue to grow in that room, because I think that we have a young tight end that can be as good as anybody in the nation throughout his career. We were talking about it today. I was talking to Mason. I said, dude, you're going to win the tight end award before you leave here. He's going to be special. And so I wanted to grow. This helps him grow because it brings in an older guy that's experienced. He's gone through some adversity in his career, but he's a legitimate dude. I mean, he's got the measurables. He's 6'7". He was 253 pounds. He's athletic. He's a true inline tight end to where he can put his hand down. He brings physicality. He's got really good hands. But when you start putting, like if you think about the big three with Baylor, Mason, and Teeter, when you put those guys on the field together, one, they're a nightmare matchup for DBs because the shortest one is like 6'4", then it goes 6'7", then it goes 6'9". And then the other thing is they're all physical guys. And whether they bring physicality to the game, they're going to be able also to help us in pass pro because they're either going to stay in to have 6 and 7 man protection or they're going to chip on their way out. But, man, you're talking about such a great kid. I recruited him at the old place, and I told him not to break my heart again. I was actually coaching tight ends whenever he came out, and he was my number one guy that year. And so it was awesome for him not to break my heart again. And he'll be here May 28th, and we'll be ready to roll.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. You bet.
Okay,